So, what if love isn't always something you say, but something you do? Something small, comforting, something practical. A moment that tells your nervous system or speaks to your heart and says, you don't have to carry this alone. I've got your back. We're in this together. Do you want to achieve your goals, but anxiety is tripping you up? Like to keep those fun weekend plans, but depression has you counseling again? Hey, I'm Lori, dog mom, lover of nature, and hygge enthusiast. Positive psychology skills help me overcome chronic severe PTSD. If you're ready to learn how to overcome your anxiety and depression and rediscover happiness and purpose in life, then get your cozy on and let's get started. Welcome back to Practical Solutions for PTSD and our special Christmas series, Cozy into Chaos. If this is something you're enjoying, let me encourage you to join our Facebook community. Just go there and search for Overcome Depression and Anxiety. Use positive psychology to combat PTSD. There's also a link in the comments below. But you can join us there. We have questions that we're posting there connected to hygge and your love languages, some practical ideas on how to use this for Christmas, all kinds of other fun things that we do there on Facebook. So I really encourage you to join. Again, just look for Overcome Depression and Anxiety. Use positive psychology to combat PTSD. And submit a request to join and we'll get you approved and hooked up. Welcome back to Cozy into Chaos. This is our special holiday series where we're talking about hygge, which is a Scandinavian practice that deals with grounding and presence and togetherness and connection with people, some peace and calm in the midst of all the chaos. And we're marrying that with the 5 love languages. And last week, we talked about words of affirmation, which is a way that you're saying I love you through words, either written or spoken. Today, we're going to talk about acts of service, which this is where you're saying, let me make life a little easier for you. So this is the love language of practical comfort, very hands-on care. So it's helpfulness, you're reducing stress, you're lightening the load so the person can breathe a little easier. And honestly, hygge is just full of this kind of energy. Hygge isn't just candles and blankets, although, trust me, I love them both. Hygge is about creating an environment that feels safe, supported, and nurturing, however that looks like for you and the people that you love. It's making life gentler for yourself and for others. So it's helping you to be able to handle that stress and lower that pressure a little bit and be able to have some calm throughout all the chaos in your life. So today we'll explore how to bring hygge into the realm of service, caregiving, and thoughtful help without burnout or pressure. Now, this is really important when it comes to active service because it's really easy to always want to do, but it's very important that you moderate that so you're not getting into burnout. And you can still speak the love language of acts of service into someone's life by doing just small things. It doesn't have to be huge, big, overwhelming acts. It can be small, everyday things that can speak boatloads of love into their life, and we're going to get into that. But first, we're going to talk about why acts of service is deeply emotional. Now, you might think it's just, you're doing something, but this is speaking a love language where people feel love through being helped, having a burden lifted, seeing someone do something without being asked. Now, having said that, it's okay to ask for help when you need it, and it's okay to be asked. And we're going to talk about that here in a bit. But it's especially for someone who speaks acts of service, it is particularly meaningful to them when someone steps in and helps them without having to be asked. It's helping them feel supported in their day-to-day life. And so this can be very meaningful to people that are burdened down with a lot of care, who have a lot of responsibility on their plate. To have someone come along beside them and help them out with that is so meaningful to them. It speaks very deeply to them. So this love language is tied to relief, to safety, and trust. And on the nervous system level, acts of service calms the body because it says you're not alone in the work of life. And sometimes, especially if you're overwhelmed by responsibility, you can feel like you're in this by yourself. And this is someone's way of coming along beside you saying you're not alone. I've got your back. We're in this together. So it can be profoundly soothing for those people that have a lot on their plate, or maybe they grew up without support, Not and they carry this heavy responsibility, or they're struggling with mental health, and it's just so overwhelming. And I can remember times when I was doing particularly bad in my mental health, and having people come along beside me and fix meals for me. I can still remember it so clearly because it impacted me so deeply. So this is meaningful for people who are caregivers themselves, and they're always pouring out for other people. To have someone take a minute to pour into their own life was deeply meaningful for them. Are they someone who's often feeling overwhelmed or exhausted? They just have so much going on and they don't know how to handle everything, and they're so tired by all that they have to do. To have someone come up beside them and do just the smallest acts can be deeply meaningful to them. And it's a way of communicating through acts of service. I've got you. You're not in this alone. We're in this together. So when you're taking the love language of acts of service and you're coupling it with hygge, this is a way of providing comfort through care. Because remember, hygge is about providing that comfort, providing that grounding, that calm moment. So hygge isn't passive. It's active care for someone. It's looking around and saying, hey, how can I make this moment a little bit easier for you? So for acts of service people, hygge might look like some of the following, which are going to give you 3 ideas of what that might look like. Number 1 is preparing something comforting for them. So again, we're taking acts of service, coupling it with the concept of hygge. So you're providing something comforting for them, doing it on their behalf. So it might be a warm drink, a simple meal, a candlelit atmosphere, providing clean sheets on the bed. Yay, how amazing is that? Starting the shower for them. I know in my house, it takes a while for the water to warm up. So having it already warm and not having to wait for it would be really nice. So this couples the concept of warmth plus help, which equals emotional safety, especially for those people that speak acts of service. So the second way that you see when you're coupling hygge with acts of service is you're creating ease in the environment. So this could be just tidying up a space for them, cleaning off the table or whatever that may be. Setting out a cozy blanket where it's handy and they can just grab it and snuggle up underneath it. Doing a chore that they dread. Now, this is going to take a little bit of paying attention on your part as the person doing the service, but knowing that they just hate taking the garbage out or unloading the dishwasher is the worst thing ever. Whatever it may be, the one that they dread, that you're stepping in and doing it on their behalf. This helps create a little bit of ease in their environment. Maybe you're lighting candles before they get home, so they walk into this warm, ambient, giving you a hug type environment. Restocking their favorite snacks. Yes, I'm down for this one. I'll give anybody a list so that you know what their favorite snacks are because you've been paying attention and you make sure they don't run out. So you're restocking that for them. And that's a way that you can serve them and let them know that you love them by creating a little bit of ease in their environment. And it lets them know that you're thinking of their well-being and making sure that they're taken care of. So the third way the 2 concepts come together is to anticipate needs. So this is noticing what drains them. Now, obviously, in this category, you're going to have to pay attention to the person. But if you just tune in a little bit and you find out what's draining them, and then you try to step in and help them in that area specifically. Notice what helps them relax. So when they've had a long day, you know exactly how to help them. I mean, maybe this is someone who really likes a good shoulder rub, or they just love a good cup of warm tea, or they really like their blanket, to snuggle under their blanket and just kind of chill out with a book for a little bit. Whatever it is that helps them relax, you know what that is, and you're helping them ahead of time. And again, you offer that help before they ask. And this, again, takes paying a little bit of attention. But if you can step in before they ask, it's just even more meaningful. And this creates a deep emotional connection between you and the person that you're serving when you're able to step in and help them in this way because you're paying attention, and they can tell that by what you're doing for them. Now, I mentioned earlier that when you're doing acts of service, love language particularly, this could be something that's very easy to give a little bit too much, where you leads into burnout and just exhaustion, and you don't want to do that. So you want to really focus on things that aren't going to drain you too much. Or maybe if you do have to do something that extends you too far, that you're balancing that out and making sure that you're taking care of yourself as well. But I'm going to give you some things that you can do that aren't going to drain you, that can still be deeply meaningful. Because you don't have to be like their house elf. We got elf on the shelf right now. So you don't have to be the house elf to be able to communicate this language. There's some easy, doable things that you can do that still are hygge style and will combine that comfort with acts of service. So there's 2-minute blessings. And this is things that you can do that take 2 minutes but can make their day easier. So maybe you're starting the coffee pot in the mornings, or you're setting it up the night before. So when the timer goes off, they have their coffee already ready for them. This is the perfect time to warm their car up for them if they have to go out. Oh, I just hate crawling into a cold car, especially with cold seats. So, double points if you can warm their seat up for them so they don't have to sit in a cold seat. But going out and starting their car for them a little bit early so that they're stepping into a warm car doesn't take long, but it can be very impactful. Putting their favorite blanket in the dryer so it's nice and warm and they're ready to snuggle into their chair. Maybe you don't have time to empty the entire dishwasher for them, but you can do it halfway and get partway through that. And then maybe they're busy working around the house or doing whatever, and you're bringing them their favorite snack while they're out in the garage doing chores or building something or whatever that may be. So there's also some things you can do that focus on comfort reset. So you can choose a space and make it cozy by adding a smooth blanket, lighting a candle, turn on some soft lighting, put away the clutter, or start some calm music, whatever that may be that's going to fit with that hygge space for them, but to help set that up for them and do that act for them. It's a peaceful environment. Creating that for them, it would count as service. And then number 3 is to help their nervous system, not their to-do list. So you may not have time to get through their to-do list, or maybe they've got it covered and they don't really need help, but you still want to be able to do some acts of service for them. So you can do things that provide some emotional help. Maybe you run a bath for them with their favorite bath salts. Help them create a cozy corner that's theirs, that's their space where they can do their hygge thing. Bring them a cup of tea in the evening so they can have just something warm and cozy to drink while they're sitting under their blanket reading their favorite book. Just take some time and sit with them and decompress. Now, this could actually be coupled together with quality time. So if this person also speaks quality time, you got double points here. But this, just sitting with them for a little bit while they're decompressing, it helps facilitate that decompressing and can speak to them deeply there as well. So what if you are the one who speaks acts of service? What does this say about you? Now, obviously, up to this point, we've been talking a lot about performing acts of service. But what if you're the person who speaks it? Now, you may feel most loved when someone helps without being asked, or takes something off your plate, creates order or peace for you, makes you a meal, handles the small things, and takes that stuff off your plate. And here's the truth. That does not make you a needy person. It doesn't make you dependent. It just means your heart relaxes through support. This is the way that people can speak most deeply to you, and the way that your heart will begin to unwind. Now, there are some things you can do for yourself. Obviously, a lot of this is tied to people doing things for you that would speak to you, but there's some things you can do for yourself to be able to nurture that. And one is to prep things the night before. So it makes your routine a little bit easier in the morning if you can prep all that stuff ahead of time. Create some cozy routines for yourself that reduce stress. And this could be just as simple as lighting a candle in the morning while you're getting ready, just so you kind of have that ambient thing going on. Maybe it's spending 5 minutes in the car just breathing and relaxing, or snuggling under a blanket for a little bit, reading a book and making sure that's important. Whatever it is, you can create that cozy routine for yourself. Now, I talked about this earlier, but it's okay to ask for help. Yes, it may be more deeply meaningful if someone does it without you asking, but it is 100% okay to ask for help. That is not a bad thing. It's not a sign of weakness. Asking for help clearly Making sure you're clearly communicating what it is that you need. Can you do X for me? Can you take the garbage out for me? Can you pick up my dry cleaning? Whatever that may be, clearly asking for help. It's okay to do that. And then release the guilt for needing support. It's okay. It's okay. We all need it to some degree. Everybody, it's really, really difficult and near impossible to go through life without having help from somebody at some time. But the fact that you speak that love language, that is not a problem. It is not a bad thing. It's perfectly fine. It's a good thing. And so you can release any guilt that's associated with that. You're not a dependent person. You're not weak. You're perfectly fine. It's just the way that your heart communicates. And so don't hold any guilt for needing that as part of and having that as your love language. So if your partner, your friend, your spouse, maybe your child, a family member, whatever that may be, if they speak acts of service, here's some hygge style ways that you can care for them. So one is ask them, what's one thing I can do today that would help you relax? Just something to help you unwind, maybe take a little bit off your plate and help you have a nicer evening. Do one small task consistently. Again, it doesn't have to be this ginormous act. It can be small things. So maybe you take it on yourself that not only am I going to start your coffee, have it all set up for you this morning, but this is something I'm just going to do for you every morning. I'm going to take this on. I'm going to be your coffee person. Notice what they procrastinate and then help them with it. So, those tasks they just hate to do, step in and help them out. Prepare those cozy comforts in advance. So the things that they love, maybe it's a pair of socks that they just love to put their feet into. Maybe they have those slippers that are really nice and comfortable and warm, but they also have some cushion to it. Whatever it may be, you can get that ready for them ahead of time. And then look for ways to ease their morning and evening routines. Because, in the evening, you're wanting to wind down, you're wanting to get to bed, you're wanting to get to that point where you can relax, but there's all this stuff you have to do. In the mornings, you're trying to get out the door. It's all rush. So if there's a way you can ease that and make it simpler, this is something that you can do that will speak more deeply to them. And honestly, small acts that are done consistently mean a lot more to that person that speaks acts of service than those rare, really big ones. They would rather you show up on a consistent basis than just to do something once in a great while. So as we wrap up today's show, let's just kind of tie this in together. So acts of service, the love language of acts of service, says love doesn't just speak. It's not just words. It shows up. And hygge says comfort is created, not accidental. So you put those two together and you're creating a comfortable place for people to be, a place of safety and coziness, calm, grounding. Everyday moments become nurturing, supportive, and deeply restorative to that person. Thanks again so much for joining me today. I hope this was meaningful to you. Next week, we're going to be talking about the love language of quality time and putting that together with hygge. This should be lots of fun, lots of informative, exciting information. We'll see you back here next Thursday. So a quick reminder to join us on Facebook at Overcome Depression and Anxiety. Use positive psychology to combat PTSD as we explore more about hygge and acts of service throughout the next week. Hey, my friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with someone you know who may be struggling with depression and anxiety? Also, would you please leave a quick review for the show? Knowing how this podcast is helping you fills my heart with so much joy, and it motivates me for future episodes. For now, it's time for Sam and I to head outside to enjoy some sunshine and fresh air. We'll see you back here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for more great episodes.